Hey, I wanted to make a couple comments on something that happened recently via a person in the state of Utah and our Federal Bureau of Investigations, and it reminded me of a conversation with a friend a couple years back, who was known to go on the internet and just get things off his chest via Facebook. And of course, what it did was it just meant that he never actually got to tell anybody what he was thinking or why he was thinking what he was thinking, because he always spent his time in Facebook jail. And so, one of the things that was a reminder that I reminded him is, first things we don't want to do is we don't want to let our adversary know what you're going to do before you do it, right? So, going to the internet to complain or, even worse, to make threats is not wise, right? It's not wisdom. And so we want to think first, like in a fight, right? You want to be careful. You don't want to telegraph your move before you do it. You don't want to show them you're about to hit them if you're actually planning on doing so. So be careful of telegraphing your moves before you make them. Be careful, right? Not to blow hot air. We often have a way of doing that. It is a way of decompressing, but let's not decompress on the internet, right? Don't say a bunch of fluff just to get things off your chest to make yourself feel better. That's not the place to do that. Do it before you start typing. If you're angry, right, don't go to the computer. Remember that everything you type, every keystroke has a memory. We live in an age that is digitally, everything is being recorded. And everything that you say likely is being recorded, but even more so your keystrokes. And so, don't type anything that is going to be used and archived to be used against you in the future. We're seeing it play out in other countries. So it's not like this is just something that's happening here. This is happening everywhere. So act accordingly. One of the things about incident in Utah is that that person may have had zero intention, and I'm not saying he did, but he may have had zero intention in truly following through with the statements that he made. But once he said it, right? Once he said those words out loud, once he typed them and put them out onto social media, there was always going to be repercussions, right? There's pretty much very small group of situations where there were not going to be very large repercussions for those actions taken. And so have that mindset, right? And it may have been suicide, a plan for suicide by cop. It may have been planned and preferred. I don't know. But even if it wasn't, when you threaten an adversary, and especially a head of state, you will be called to account for it. There's no way that's not going to be dealt with. And so, while I personally in no way trust anything that the federal government says these days, because I've personally watched them botch too many investigations that were fairly simple and straightforward, I don't see any way that this particular incident would have played out differently. If there was a credible threat, which the entity suggests there was, you can't run the risk of letting that person get mobile. You can't run the risk of them hopping in a car and then going out and doing it to other people. So I think that a high risk warrant would likely have been the appropriate response in this situation. You couldn't do surround and call out. The person specifically was threatening lethal force at range. So even that would not have been an option because he's already made the suggestion that that was something he was willing to do. Really, this video is just meant as a reminder, not to let your anger skew your thinking. Right? Be clear headed. Um, be slow to speak. Be slow to react. Right? But be fast to think on these things. And so just don't let your anger turn to malice, right? Don't let anger become the thing that drives you, right? Scripture says, don't let the sun go down on your anger. Don't let it cause you to do things that you would not generally do. I would tell you, don't let your anger turn to malice and write a check that you can't take back. So Uh, Hopefully this will get you thinking some. Let me know if you completely disagree and you think it's okay for people to do that kind of stuff. Obviously, I don't agree, but just be mindful and be safe out there. All right. Thank you.